Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for tuning in. My name is Mathieu, and today I'm going to be discussing Chapter 12 of the Key Ideas of Criminology and Criminal Justice textbook. So let's get into it. First, I'm going to be discussing a subject that has been discussed earlier on in the book, and that subject is why do people commit the crimes that they commit? And why do they do them? In other words, the mindset that a criminal possesses in order for them to feel like they can partake in criminal activity. Well, social learning theory is going to be the first theory that I'm going to try to talk about here, and it aims to answer just that question. It states that individuals learn to commit crimes by watching others. These individuals might include a family member. The moral of this theory is that new behaviors, values, and attributes are being learned through others. And I think now I am going to bounce straight into another theory that emphasizes less about, how the person learned this sort of behavior and more about what motivated this offender in, a particular crime. The theory I wish to address at this point is the routine activity theory. And it was coined by Cohen and Felsen in 1979. And they are the ones that conceptualize the concept of a motivated individual and views on what, makes a person a suitable target. You might be asking yourself, what would make somebody a suitable target? Best way that I can go about describing what a suitable target is with an example. So let's say that someone, owns a lake house in, let's say, Florida, and goes there once a month out of the entire year. Well, the fact that they're never there makes them a suitable target for, let's say, a robbery, vandalism, a break-in, because chances are they won't be home, and by the time they do, the criminal will already be long gone. Suitable targets basically entitle anyone that has a weakness that another person is taking advantage of in a situation. Another very important concept that the book raises is the lack of a capable guardian, which implies that crimes are being taken place because nobody is there to stop or prevent them from committing. So let's say that a kid comes home from school and mom and dad are rarely there because they both work two jobs and can't be there after school. What is stopping that child from getting into some mischief? Like what would stop him from, coming home from school and reaching into the fridge and helping himself to like a Coors Light? I don't know. I know that wasn't an amazing example, but the concept is that nobody is there to stop them, and that is what the lack of a capable guardian means. The police and parents are two good examples that I can think of off the top of my head that act as preventative enforcers because they are there to enforce what is right from what is wrong.
All right, so now I'm going to bounce straight into another theory known as the labeling theory of criminology. And it is categorized as an old school theory of delinquency in the criminal justice realm. The theory suggests that formal reactions to crime will become a stepping stone in the development of, a criminal career. Social interactions with others is important in shaping whether people eventually become offenders or not. By that, I mean that humans are not passive by nature, but by actively engaging with others in the constructions of their own social identities makes them and shapes them for who they are. Okay, so moving on to the next subject, I'm going to be talking about Discipline and Punishment, which is a book that was written in 1975 by an individual called Michael Foucault. I believe I'm saying that right. Um, he was a Frenchman, and the book describes the birth of prison sanctions and examples, and excuse me, and examines the exchange of political, you know, technologies between prison and disciplinary institutions. It also focuses on the correlation between surveillance and corrections throughout, schools and in the workforce in general, all throughout the 1980s. Foucault is also the leader of the Prison Information Group, or the GIP, which consisted of social activists that sought to diminish information on the French prison system. They interviewed, prisoners, family members, and guards, and published their findings in, pamphlets to spread awareness about the inhumane conditions prisoners had to deal with while they were incarcerated, creative shaming. And from a juvenile justice initiative perspective, it was discovered by John Brathwaite, and his research indicated that children prosecuted as adults are much more likely, to commit some serious new offenses after they are incarcerated, or even commit suicides. Those rates skyrocket as well once they are released from adult penitentiaries, after being incarcerated with, adults. And the reason for bringing that up is that reintegrative shaming aims to protect the youth, because if they are handled lightly, they are more unlikely to reoffend once they are scared straight. So, to speak from a rehabilitative point of view, um, the juvenile justice system, caters to help the youth in a way that the adult system just cannot. And, their brains are not fully developed. So, as a juvenile, they're more than likely prone to make mistakes. That to discuss the questions that are at the end of the chapter. So the first one states, what makes a key idea in criminology or criminal justice? Well, for starters, I thought that the book did a great job of incorporating a unique perspective to understanding critical research in criminology and criminal justice. As for what makes a key idea, I would have to say that going the extra mileage in identifying key contributions and the effects, and really giving us, the readers, some excellent insight on theories that are applied on an everyday basis, was very well taught throughout the read. Okay, so now looking on to the second question in the discussion review. It says, why does criminology / criminal justice seem to be moving in the direction that it is? If I were to answer that, I personally think that, we lack accurate diagnostic instruments, a definite body of knowledge, and an understanding of cause and effect in everyday society. As for the last question here on the discussion review, it states, what potentially key ideas were altogether in this book? Let's see. I thought the book did a really great job at discussing key ideas and criminal offenders. If I were to pinpoint in particular a weakness that the textbook, I thought had, I would have to say that the routine activities theory wasn't fully utilized to its full potential. I did a good bit of research on this theory and thought the theory wasn't discussed as much as, I anticipated it would. All in all, I thought that this book was an excellent read, and, I would recommend it to anyone that is trying to extend their knowledge in criminology. Thank you and have a wonderful day. Bye.